It's no big deal. Good evening and welcome to a special presentation of Oscar Mike Radio. And like the Marine I am, any climate and place I can take a microphone or a gun. I'm at the town of Foxborough at Boyden Library, and I'm so pleased that the director, Elizabeth O'Neill, asked me to teach this podcast course. And what you're about to see are four of my students who, have really reached inside themselves to discover a different kind of storytelling in the art of connecting with people. And they're going to do that with a dear friend of mine, an amazing female veteran and veteran advocate, Michelle Hamilton, who is the Veteran Service Officer for the town of Foxborough. And like I said, a dear, dear friend of mine, a mentor, and somebody who has lifted me up when I have been down, literally. I want you to watch this next hour or so and realize that these are new podcasters. They haven't done this before, but they've leaned into the experience and immersed themselves in the true art of storytelling. Like I told them, hey, we're still talking about some scribbles on a cave wall that's probably 10, 20,000 years old. So hopefully what they do tonight can echo even further. I want to thank you. We're going to get started, and as I say, we're mission flight.
Hi.
Hi, Nancy.
Hi, I'm Nancy.
Nice
we're here at the Boyden Library in Foxborough. Thank you so much for coming.
Of course.
And joining our class. We're very appreciative that you are doing this with us.
Thank you.
I'm just going to ask you a couple questions, and just feel free to
You can
say
ask me
whatever you
anything.
want. Great. My first question is basically just, tell us about Michelle Hamilton. Who is Michelle Hamilton?
That's a lot, man. How long you got? Mom, grandma, veteran, veterans agent for the town, belly dancer, archery shooter. Travis and I shoot archery together. It's a lot of things, right? In my life, I've done a lot of different jobs too. So I owned my own business in acupuncture and Chinese medicine for about 20 years. So, yep, got my bachelor's degree because of the United States military. Got my master's degree too. So, a lot.
That's a lot. Well, I just had one other question for you. When you're in high school and you have your whole life ahead of you, what made you think military?
I come from a military family. My father fought in the French Resistance in France, came to the United States and became an American when I was about 6 years old. So that kind of entered into it. But the biggest part was I was the oldest of four, and nobody had money for college. And I wanted to go to college, and joining the military was the way to do that. So I was 17 when I graduated from high school, signed on the dotted line, and off I went.
And they let you do that? You could get in at 17?
My parents had to sign too, but I graduated high school. I was good to go.
Wow. Good for you. That's terrific. And thank you for your service.
Thank you so much.
Excellent.
I appreciate it.
Anything else?
That's it.
Okay.
That's all I have.
All right, no problem.
You guys can ask me anything. I don't care. And Travis will tell you I am honest. So whatever you want to know.
Now you say it.
Anything you want. You got something else? Come on, let's go. Ask.
That's all I got. Well, there's other questions coming.
Okay.
I basically just wanted to find out about high school. Like, what makes a young
person
woman
decide? Yeah, well,
decide?
I didn't think of myself as a female. I just thought of myself as a person who could serve in the military. Never really think of myself as a female veteran. I just think of myself as a veteran. So I don't separate from the guys.
So you didn't think
I'm
of
just
yourself.
one of them.
You didn't think of yourself as a woman in a man's world.
Nope, never.
Wow. What
1970? Imagine that.
Exactly. Yep. That's what I'm thinking.
Yep.
That's.
I went in the military at the end of Vietnam in the 70s.
I hate to ask, but did you have any issues being in a man's world?
I mean, I guess.
Did you meet a lot of women along the way?
I met some great females. Yeah. I mean, it's like anything else, right? It's what you make of it. So, I mean, I've been in leadership my whole life. Travis will tell you. I mean, in the biker world, I was one of the female presidents of a national organization. So,
wow.
I just follow the mission and do what you're supposed to do. I never really cared.
That's great.
I guess.
You're a great role model for young women for today.
Thanks.
That's
I never
for sure.
really thought about it separately from, I'm a soldier. That's my job.
Wow, that's terrific. You're a great role model, I'll tell you.
Thanks.
That's wonderful.
Thank you.
You're ahead of your time, that's for sure.
Maybe.
Definitely, you're ahead of your time, definitely. Well, again, thank you for your service.
Thank you. I'm sure it's really different for you guys to meet a person like me and talk to a person like me. For me,
Who
it's
wants
just
to monitor?
another day.
Gabby?
I mean, I've always been in this skin, so I don't think about it.
How about Rebecca? I'm just going to get close to you for a second, please. Is it okay?
Yeah.
I'm so grateful that you guys got to do this.
Hi, Michelle.
Hi, Rebecca.
I'm excited to talk with you.
Oh,
I
thank
have
you.
to say you already answered my first two questions.
That's all right, ask
but
away.
I think I have more just
Okay.
hearing a little bit of your story because
Okay.
it sounds like you have had a lot of adventures along the way.
Yeah, I guess so. I never really added it all up to anything, but yeah.
I was curious what it was like when you transitioned out of the military. I think maybe tell us how many years you served. And
So I served my full tour, which back then was 3 years, right?
years. Okay.
So very, very different than the experience that you folks have in the military now.
Okay.
Out processing was basically sign this paper and you're done. So you're done.
Okay.
Now they have a whole process that they go through where, they are reintroduced to civilian life.
Yeah.
For me, the expectation was move on to the next thing, find a job, take care of your family, do whatever it is you're going to do. And I wanted to go to school. So that was
Okay.
kind of where I went.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, you really wanted to go to college.
Yep.
And what were you wanting to do with college?
At first, I was going to be a lawyer.
Okay.
And so I studied political science.
Uh-huh.
I went to the University of Iowa because I lived in the Midwest at the
Okay.
time. And then we moved to Massachusetts and I went to UMass Boston.
Okay.
I got a degree in political science and public policy management. It was good. UMass Boston was a school that had more Harvard professors than Harvard at the time. So it was, it was in the 80s and the school wasn't as built up as it is now. But yeah, so while I was there, I was going to go to the Kennedy School of Government at Harvard, and I went and I got a volunteer position as a CASA, a court-appointed special assistant,
Okay.
which is a person who is a representative with the young person to speak to the judge.
Okay.
And I did that, and I found out a lot about the law, and I found out it wasn't for me.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm
Which is
grateful
great.
that I
Yes,
had that
that you did
opportunity.
that.
Yep. So, after that, I went into the private sector,
Okay.
worked for a lot of years. And
Yeah. And then fast forward a few years, and then you started your own business.
so a few years, then I decided I was sick of the corporate world. I had a really good job. I was a director of account preservation for Cell One Singular.
Okay.
And I wanted to do herbal medicine. I always
Like
was
for a while?
interested in.
Okay.
Oh yeah, for
Okay.
a long while. And there was only one way to practice herbal medicine in the United States, and that was to get a degree in acupuncture and Chinese medicine, which meant you would be have a medical license in acupuncture and herbal medicine. So I quit my job and went back to school, got a master's degree, and opened a practice. My practice took off pretty quick. I treated a lot of veterans. I also treated a lot of stroke and traumatic brain injuries. So that's I was always busy.
Mm-hmm.
And then after about 20 years, I was like, oh, I want to do something else. And the town of Fall River, the city of Fall River, had known me as the president of Rolling Thunder for about 8 years.
Okay.
And they really pursued me hard to, they had a veterans agent opening, and it took them a couple of months to talk me into it, really. And then I was like, well, I'll just keep my practice going, and I'll do this too. And if I hate it, I'll just quit and go back to my practice. But I love it.
I was going to say, I take it you didn't hate it.
Yeah, no. And, you know, I was in Fall River for a while, and I mean, it was great. Don't get me wrong. I loved the veteran population. It was a lot bigger than the veteran population here in Foxborough.
Okay.
But the job came up, and the offer was good, and that's the end of that. So I've been here for about a year now. Actually, probably right around a year.
Okay.
So, yeah, and I really enjoyed this veteran. I just like working with veterans, but this veteran community is pretty special too.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear.
So, yeah, I'm lucky.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to have you kind of just reflect back too a little bit on how, I guess, even from those initial 3 years in the military, like how would you say that sort of changed the trajectory of your life in terms of like how did it shape you, make you grow? Like I hear that you're just, I mean, you sound so determined and just sort of like the sky's the limits. Like I want to do something, I'm going to go try it out. I'm not like afraid to fail, just go for it. So
Wow.
do you feel like that came from being part of the military, or just let me know?
I mean, maybe my upbringing, maybe the military too. I mean, being in the military gives you great leadership skills.
Okay. Yep.
Obviously, a lot of us are leaders, and, you know, it gives you a better path, I think. I mean, I wouldn't be doing this job if I didn't serve, because in order to do this job, you have to be a veteran, right?
Yeah.
So I wouldn't
Makes
have had
sense.
that opportunity. I wouldn't have had the opportunity to go to college. I wouldn't have a master's degree. So there's a lot of things that were contingent
Sure.
based upon that. So
Yeah.
it was a good decision, at least.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Well, I'm going to pass it off to Kelly here, but I would just like to say, I think it's really awesome just to hear, about how you building community, serving others, just continuing on in your experience. Like it kind of just seems like it's just morphed throughout your life, but I hear that you've served many people along the way and just brought a presence where you're connecting people, supporting them, drawing out their gifts and talents, and it's been cool to just
A lot of
a little
that,
bit.
yeah. Thank
To
you
hear
so
about
much.
it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Hi, Michelle. I'm
Hi, Kelly. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. Thanks for taking the time to do this.
Thanks for
Me
having
and
me.
my classmates have learned so much from Travis, and we're thrilled to have the opportunity to talk to you, learn about you, and practice the skills that we are honing in.
The minute he asked me, I was like, yeah, sure, anything.
You guys obviously have a good friendship.
Oh, he's just a great person.
I love that. So we heard a lot about your background, your history, how you came to where you are today, and my job in this podcast is to talk about today.
Okay.
What's been happening around you recently, professionally, personally, and things like that. So I want to congratulate you because at the Revs game back in March,
Yeah,
you were
that was
honored,
cool,
right, as the
wasn't it?
hero of the March?
Hero
of the match.
match. Yeah, that was pretty cool. They email. I mean, I've had a talking back and forth relationship with all of the folks over there, right, by virtue of being in this town. And they sent me an email, and the email was kind of like, you know, we do this hero of the match. And I thought, oh, cool, I'm going to get to pick one of the veterans in my town to be able to do this. This is awesome, because I have a group of them who've done exceptional things, you know. You wouldn't even know it. They wouldn't ever tell you.
Humble.
But I know it. And the last sentence was, and we'd like that hero of the match to be you. And I was like, no. Because, no, there's all of them, too.
Mm.
So, yeah, that was pretty nice of them, really. And so they said, oh, you can bring your family. You know, we'll give you 5 tickets and stuff. And I was like, well, I'm not bringing my family. I'm going to bring the veterans. Because these are why I'm here. These are my people. So I went through and I invited a couple of the secretary from the Veterans Advisory Committee,
Mm-hmm.
one of the guys from the VFW, one of the guys from the American Legion, and then there's a group, the Sharon Elks Riders, and they do POW MIA Day with us.
Okay.
Here in town, we do a 24-hour vigil,
Wow.
and they do the overnight shift. So I invited those guys to come with me, and it was pretty spectacular and quite special for all of us. We went down on the field, and you're kind of looking through the stadium, and we're just us, right? We're just doing our thing. And they were all like people. They announced us and what we do, and our names, and
Wow.
all those people were clapping for us. And I was like, oh my God, this is overwhelming.
It's a powerful moment.
Powerful. And I
Yeah.
got to spend it with them. So, it wouldn't have meant as much to my family as it meant to the vets.
Yeah. That's such an honorable thing to do.
It was
and
crazy.
humbling as well, but for you to incorporate your honor and divide it out and share it amongst the veterans and other service members, and
Yeah.
it speaks to your character, really.
I don't know.
right?
I don't think I would have done it any other way.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have
It's
done it
incredible.
any other way. It was just a great night for all of us. And for me, on the other end, we had a suite up.
Nice.
We were the big shots,
Yeah.
right? But I got to sit with them while we weren't working.
Mm.
And I really got to learn a little bit more, because when you're the Veterans Committee, everything we're doing is we're working.
Right.
So I got to sit with them and learn a little bit about each of them as a person. So that was a huge takeaway for me. I really kind of got to know them a little bit better. And I think it enriched the relationship from each of those organizations with my office. So it was really great.
I think when humans are connecting on a personal level, not just
Yeah.
professionally,
Yeah.
but a shared mission, a shared vision, and
Yeah.
a shared respect
Yeah.
for everyone's service.
Yeah,
So
it was great.
that's really cool. And I know back in November you also had another incredible honor, right? This was you got to put the wreath on the tomb of the unknown soldiers. Yeah. How did that, again, what an honor. How did that come about?
So we, as Rolling Thunder, we always do a national conference.
Mm-hmm.
So we go and we speak with the politicians, and we have our Congress, and we vote on bylaws and all of that. I'm not the president anymore, but I still can go,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I was like, we talked for years about doing a wreath at the Tomb of the Unknown, and I said, well, you know what? I'm going to send an email and see if I can get us in there.
What I know about you, this is like true Michelle fashion. Like, let's get it done.
And I'm going to send it from my work email address, because maybe that will help.
Yeah.
So I got an email back. Yeah, you guys have been selected. It was just a phenomenal moment. I had to keep reminding myself, don't cry, because it was just so, I'm so lucky. We just really got to do that. So, and I was, so the current president of the chapter and I laid the wreath, and then 2 other chapter members went with us.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was pretty great. Yeah,
Awesome.
Everybody stands, and those tomb guards are the nicest people ever.
And they're guarding 24/7.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they talked us through, and if you look at the pictures at the top of the stairs, the guard is facing us, and he's kind of talking to us, and I'm like, oh God, I'm probably going to have like a nervous breakdown. And he starts laughing. He's like, well, there'll only be a couple of thousand people who see it, so
No big deal. Don't worry
not
about
a big deal. You won't trip and fall or anything like that. And I was like, oh my God. But we needed that at that moment, right? Because it's serious.
Yeah.
You
So a little
know?
bit of humility and like being like human, as like
Yeah.
you connected at the Revs game and you connected to this
Yeah.
guard in such a powerful and impactful
It
moment,
was
but it's
just
like still brings you
awesome.
down to the humanism
Yeah.
of it, right?
Yeah, it was just, a moment of a lifetime for sure.
Yeah.
How many people get to do that?
No, that's an honor. I mean,
So,
really
I
incredible.
was like, I'll send the email. We'll see. What are they going to say? No? Okay.
Gabby is going to ask you more about Rolling Thunder, but just to connect the dots between that opportunity and the organization, can you just tell the people in a couple sentences how that overlaps and why those are meaningful together?
So I've been a member of Rolling Thunder for 11 or 12 years. I was president for 8. And this chapter, the chapter that I'm a part of, is responsible for everything from the Brockton VA down through the Cape. So we see a lot of different people. And that's how I ended up getting into this job, quite honestly.
Oh.
I never would have known about, it wasn't on my radar, right? And had they not pursued me in Fall River, I wouldn't be doing this. But I was just ready to roll the dice, I guess. So, yeah, and the mission of Rolling Thunder is to account for all missing in action and prisoners of war. So I've been lucky to be able to escort remains home, meet family members whose remains, cousins of, an uncle, and you see the trauma that those losses cause in generations of families. So it's significant.
It's very, I'm like on the verge of tears just thinking about it. It's tragic. It's a sacrifice that, I'm grateful for everyone who has served. Like, we have this beautiful country and land that we can have and have freedoms and choices and autonomy because of people like you and them, and those have been lost. So, just powerful.
And when you meet Joseph Travers just was returned to Taunton a couple of months ago, and we were there to welcome him and his family and stuff. And I got interviewed by the newspaper, right? And it was shocking to me because the guy actually said to me, and I thought, oh, I'm not going to swear, Trav. I thought, this frickin' guy can't be asking me this question. He asked me the question of, how do you feel about our government spending tax money trying to find remains? And I really just wanted to slap him.
Yeah.
But I was like, well, listen, if you meet those families, if you ever sat with anybody who's a child whose father remains were returned, which I have, you wouldn't even ask me that question. And
again,
I just
humanism.
Shut him down, right? It was crazy because I wanted to tell him a lot worse than that.
Yeah. Yes.
Who asks a question like that? Like, this person went and defended our country, and they didn't come home. And you have a brother who has survivor's guilt because they both served at the same time, and a sister who never met her brother, and they're standing before you with the grandchildren talking about their uncle, and you see all of that, and you can ask a question like that. Get out of here.
The insensitivity is...
But that's how people think. That is how some people think. Out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
83,000 people are still missing.
83,000?
It might be 82 and some odd left.
Wow.
Yeah, 83,000. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of families. That's a mom and a dad and a brother and a sister, like an aunt and an uncle and grandparents. So odds are you all know somebody. Odds are you do.
That's a tragic stat that I did not know.
So the mission, right? It's about the mission.
So no man, no woman, no individual left behind. And the honor to place that wreath on the tomb is just that.
Huge.
This is what it's all about. We are camaraderie. We are together, and we're going to fight no matter what for all 83,000 of those people relentlessly. Yeah. Thank you for doing that work.
Oh, I love it. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Great. I have had the opportunity to do some significant things just because of the mission. I'm lucky.
Yeah. To see it that way, but the impact you're having, no doubt, on the soldiers and service members' families and the community, which is a little segue into currently your support now in local communities, right? So can you tell us a little bit? I know that every town and city in the state of Massachusetts has a VSO.
Yep.
Is that true across the country?
Nope. It's true to Massachusetts.
Okay.
So the state requires every town to have a veterans agent. So in this town, I'm the director of veteran services, which is a huge amount of things, right? So the state of Massachusetts has a program called Chapter 115, which is financial aid for veteran families. It's a program that helps people if they, and you have to qualify for it, right? Like any social welfare program, you have to qualify for it. You have to be a veteran who was honorably discharged. You have to not be a criminal. You have to be in financial need. Assets matter. Amount of money matters. Age matters. So that program is unique to the state of Massachusetts. No other states have it. So we in the Veterans Office oversee that program, but we do VA claims. And we help with everything: housing, burial, education, all of that. So it's good for me because it's different every day. And I'm always learning something, right? Different things that happen with in the veteran community. There are things I don't like about it, like when I can't help somebody because they don't fit the mold. But there's other programs that they can tweak into. And this town is smart and unique. When I was in Fall River, we had no attachment to the Health and Human Services end of it. We were just veterans, right? But here, we're in with the Council on Aging, the social workers. So for me, as a veterans agent, being able to go to a social worker and say, look, I have this vet. He doesn't have a good discharge, but these are the issues that he's had, PTSD, different things. He doesn't qualify for X, Y, or Z, but I want to be able to help him. He obviously needs, and the social worker can step in and help. So I think it's one of the smartest things, and I wish every veterans agent office had that, because I don't have the softness of a social worker, right? I'm like, let's go, let's do it. I can't help you, sorry. So I'm not like that as a person. I'm difficult from time to time. No. I own it. So having those resources benefits the veteran community in an unbelievable way.
So how can other towns, other cities start to incorporate this into their mission, into their offerings?
I think it just has to come from within, right? The veterans agent might just need to create a relationship with, Health and Human Services folks. I just got lucky because when I came here, it was already there. And in Fall River, it was, 4,000, almost 5,000 veterans you're serving. Yeah. There wasn't any time for that. There wasn't any in-between time, where this is a smaller town, and I can do those things.
Yeah. That feels good, I'm sure.
Yeah, because you don't want somebody to leave not being able to get help. Like, that is a lousy feeling.
Yeah. It feels incomplete for someone who deserves it, needs it, and should.
Oh, sorry, I can't help you. You don't fit the criteria. Yeah, that's lousy.
Yeah.
So having other resources available has been a huge plus for me. I mean, you can well imagine the things that we hear from these veterans. It can really... They actually offer us counseling and stuff because you can get PTSD off of somebody else's PTSD. And if you hear that all day long, it's a lot.
Yes.
If you can't encapsulate those things, it's a lot. So a lot of veterans agents end up having mental health issues because it's not an easy job.
Yeah. I work in the mental health field.
So you know exactly what I'm talking about.
It's so admirable that everyone is being supported.
Yeah.
The agents, the service officers, the veterans, and that everyone is in it together, because, like you said, holding someone else's weight and burden is then a weight and burden on someone else, but not in a bad way, really, because if there's opportunity to get help and to feel comforted and to learn and to grow. So I think I want to wrap it up so that we have time. But what are, in your opinion, the greatest needs of veterans today? And I guess specifically within the Foxborough community, what is the greatest needs and the greatest barriers that you're facing?
Okay, so the greatest need, I think, is community. And that's been my number one mission since I've been here, is to build community within the veterans. That's why we're going to have a veterans lounge. That's why we have game nights. That's why we have movie nights and bring in pizza and stuff like that. So those are the kinds of things that I'm bringing to the department to be able to open that up. We are our own biggest barrier.
Not wanting to receive help or ask for help, you think?
We won't ask. For the most part, we won't ask.
Is that
We
like a
don't.
veterans thing across the board that they tend to be more stubborn in a way that...
And we'll leave that on the table for somebody else because they need it more than me.
Selfless. I mean, an
lot.
act of service, right? Like you and all the other veterans they have served, and they still have that mentality after they're no longer actively serving that they are still not in need, and that others should take that.
If it comes to benefits and stuff like that, I have 80-year-old veterans who are like, oh, I don't really need it. Leave it for somebody else. And I'm like, no, you do, because when you're not on this planet, guess what? Your wife needs it.
Taking care of everybody else and not taking care of themselves.
So we are not good like that. And I think the biggest challenge we all face in all of the veteran communities, including the volunteer organizations, is how do we get the younger veterans through the door? And I think a lot of people forget we were those younger veterans too, right? We were busy taking kids to soccer, going to baseball, music lessons, and working, and finally getting home and making dinner. And we had no time for our own community. So how do we make that available to younger veterans within a space that they can utilize? So that's the biggest challenge.
Events and things, maybe.
I'm doing family stuff here. We're going to have quarterly veterans breakfast, family breakfast, as soon as I can get sponsors.
Okay, so that leads into my last question. How can the community help? Actually, I have two more questions. Number one is, how can the community help? What can the people of Foxborough do to support the Veteran Service Office here in Foxborough and the veterans in the town? What can we do?
I think coming out to help, right? We can always use, we're going to have Memorial Day on the Common, everybody. Just being there means a lot to the veterans and those families. And that's a day for our Gold Star families, right? So if you don't know, a Gold Star family is a family who's lost somebody in the military service, right? And some of it is people who come back with the wounds of war and even afterwards passed because of, something horrific, right? So how can you help veterans? By showing support, showing up, being around. What do you need? Especially a lot of the older veterans and there's a lot of them here in town. There's always, we could use people to help serve. Popcorn when we have a movie night. We can use people to, just come up and help put flags out in the cemeteries on Friday. There's always that. So if you want to connect with veterans, get on the email list at the Veterans Office, and we'll hook you up with all the things we have going on.
Awesome. And the last question is for information for the veterans that are watching. I saw that on the website there's a crisis line. I think it's 988 and dial 1. Is there any other immediate information you want to share with the veterans as far as how to find their local VSO office, or how to find if there is one in their town or state? Like, do you have any advice for the veterans on how to see that support?
The Executive Office of Veteran Services, which is the overseer of all of us in the state of Massachusetts, has a list of all the towns and each veteran service officer. I mean, if people call me from other towns and I'm like, well, did you talk to your own veterans agent? Oh, I don't know. Didn't know I had one. Okay, Google, and I'm going to pull it up and I'm going to give them that phone number. I'm not going to let them leave without having that phone number, even if I have to look it up, whatever, right? So, I mean, within the state of Massachusetts, if you just Google Foxborough Veterans Agent, it's going to come up. So every town has that. And if anybody in the veteran community who needs services, you have an agent in your town who is well qualified to do claims, help with Chapter 115. Listen, I've given out grocery shopping gift cards because somebody didn't have enough money to go grocery shopping. So we have those things. People donate gift cards to the office. We get gift cards for Dunkin' Donuts, and we have some vets who walk a lot, and so any small act of kindness is going to be reflected within the veteran community, and most, if not all, the vets pay it forward. So it's really great.
I can tell that by your personality and through your action as well. So thank you for your time. I'm going to
pleasure.
pass it on to the next person.
All right. Myself any different than just a veteran? I never have.
No. think it's what I'm getting the most out of tonight is, even I'm learning a different facet of who you are and what you do.
Scary, ain't it?
No, it's all good.
Thank you for joining us, and I'm going to do the same thing. It's an honor meeting you. We've heard so much about you from Travis, and also I've heard so much about you from members in Foxborough.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's
a good community.
It really is.
Yeah.
Especially when you get involved, whether it be through, all over town. I guess I'm in charge of closing out our podcast today. And I'm actually going to start off by asking you, how has this experience been for you?
Oh, I think it's great. Listen, if I can help any one of you guys to move forward in a career of something that interests you, like that's the good stuff of life right there. That's the good stuff. So for me, when Travis asked me, I did. First of all, it's Travis, and I would never say no to him, even though I'm going home and having a grilled cheese sandwich after this drive. I am. But that's how people learn, right? 83,000 former prisoners of war and missing in action. Who knew that number, right? So, it's always an education, and I always learn something too.
Well, thank you for taking the time to talk with us. So sort of piggybacking off of what Kelly was talking about briefly towards the end, and you touched upon this a little bit, we see you have there's some upcoming events happening between town and then also Rolling Thunder. So something I've seen around town and also you touched upon was on the 23rd, flags are being placed.
Friday?
Uh-huh.
Yep. So Friday, they're going to be placing flags at St. Mary's and at Rock Hill. Rock Hill Cemetery is the bigger cemetery, and they'll be placing flags starting at 5 o'clock. And Ed Butler is our lead person for that location. At St. Mary's, it is Warren Wright from the VFW, and they'll be starting at 6 o'clock. So if anybody wants to help, we're good to go. We need all the help that we can get.
Is there... Are you guys inviting people to show up and help, or are you looking for people to reach out ahead of time?
If they want to reach out, they can. If they want to show up, they can. We'll never turn somebody away who wants to come and help. So I like to invite everybody.
Is there a best email they should contact or reach out through Facebook?
Well, they can call the Veterans Department, but my email is mhamilton@foxboroughma.gov, and it's Foxborough the long way.
Yes, since our town has two spellings, they like to go back and forth between.
So, and if they reach out to me via email, I'm happy to let them know what's going on. We do have an email list, so if anybody wants to join our email list, because we didn't have one, the town didn't have one for the Veterans Department, but we do now. So, yeah, anybody who wants to find out what's going on, just reach out to us and we'll add you to the list.
Awesome. And then we also see on the list on the Sunday the 25th, you have the Memorial Day Ride for Freedom with Rolling Thunder.
Yeah. Okay. So in the past, Rolling Thunder would have a big ride in Washington, D.C. And we would all go and we would 1 million bikes ride. We did it for 30 plus years. What ended up happening was it cost us a ton of money to do that as an organization, hundreds of thousands of dollars a year to pay for porta potties and security that we already paid for as taxpayers. So the decision was made at a national level that we would do regional rides. And when I was the president here, and we have that Vietnam Veterans Memorial Wall in Fall River, which was an 80% replica of the Vietnam Wall in Washington, D.C. So the decision was made that the regional ride would be here. So all 9 Rolling Thunder chapters from Maine, Vermont, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, and New Hampshire get together, and the ride leaves. So, and it was during COVID, of course, because everything has to be a challenge. So the decision was made, and then COVID hit. So Plain Ridge Park Casino was kind enough to host us that first year. And when it was only going to be 50 bikes because everybody had to be 6 feet apart and, there was all those COVID rules. And then 2 days before or the day before, the ban was pulled. So, so we rode together, and we've stayed with Plain Ridge Park Casino ever since. So this year we are there on Sunday the 25th. And registration starts at 9 o'clock in the morning. Kickstands up at 12 noon. We'll go through, and we're leaving Plain Ridge and coming back to Plain Ridge. So that's a huge change because too many motorcycles to go to Fall River anymore. There wasn't enough parking and stuff. So the decision was made to go and to come back. We've got 3 bands and lunch and breakfast and camaraderie. So, it's a great day. And all the money raised goes towards the POWMIA mission and helping veterans.
Sounds like a great day. So just so I and the viewers understand, so you start at Plain Ridge and then you go down to the Memorial and Fall River?
Nope, we're not going to go to Fall River. We're going to go through Plainville and Rehoboth and Berkeley and come back around through Seekonk and circle back around through the Attleboroughs back to the casino.
Nice. Well, it sounds like hopefully the weather is beautiful that day.
It doesn't matter. Listen, doesn't matter. The first time we did it, it poured. And my husband and I were the last 2 people to come home from Fall River. He pulled his boots off and poured the water out. So it doesn't matter.
Rain or shine?
Rain or shine. They didn't get to choose rain or shine, did they? So,
Very true.
We do it.
And then to tie off your events, we have the Memorial Day Parade here in Foxborough.
Yeah.
And actually a question we as classmates had was, will you yourself be in the parade?
Yes, I am in the parade. We're the end of the parade. Everybody else goes first. The workers are the end of the parade, the town workers. So you'll see me at the very end. I'll be on the podium up in on the common. I'll kind of master of ceremonies for the show, and I talk a little bit about Memorial Day, what it means, and stuff like that. And then when that part's over, we will leave there. Anybody who wants to come to the community center, we're going to have snacks and socialize a little bit, and then everybody goes home.
Yeah. It's a great opportunity to see the new space in town.
It's a great, come to Heroes Hall. It's amazing. It's amazing. So all the banners that were around town are now hanging in Heroes Hall. It's spectacular.
Will the banners be hanging up there permanently in the center?
Those banners will stay, and you said I got a lot of stuff going on. Right around June 15th, we'll start the next round of banners.
Very nice.
And the Patriots Foundation has sponsored that full batch.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yep.
And it seems like with the banners, people in town were very positive about it. Were they excited to see this initiative?
Listen, the day those banners went up, we invited the families, and people were like, I want my banner here. And we were like, nope, random, pulling them out. And they followed us from pole to pole, waiting for their family members. It was really, really great. It was touching to watch them and spend that time with them. Oh, yeah, it was really great. So next batch, come mid-June.
Oh, I'll have to keep an eye out.
They'll go up before Veterans Day, and then same thing. They'll come down right at around Memorial Day. They'll get hung in Heroes Hall.
Will they just be added with the other banners that are currently hanging there?
And if families want their banners, they can have them. So everybody this time elected to have their banner hang in Heroes Hall. At some point in time, they might change their mind. If that's the case, you can have your banner. Nice. But it's pretty cool to have it hang there.
That was hearing about the initiative and then seeing it happen in town.
Yeah.
It's pretty great.
It was a lot of work. It's only 2 people in that office, me and Lauren,
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of work.
But it was great. And we've got We're doing a trip to the Vietnam Wall in Fall River. I think it's Wednesday, June 25th. We're going to go have lunch with the Veterans Kitchen and then go to the wall. There's a Iwo Jima Memorial there. The Gold Star Family Memorial's there. So we're taking the bus and we're going to take the veterans down there. We've got another trip in October planned. Also, the first Saturday, I think it's October 4th, we have a project called House to House for Heroes that we're going to work with the Norfolk County Sheriff's Office, and we will go to every single veterans home here in town, knocking on the doors. So we'll have volunteers for that.
Oh,
so
amazing.
about 1,000 veterans.
Oh, wow.
So, yep. Yeah, we got a little bit going on.
Just a little bit.
I'm tired.
So actually going off of that, our local veterans in town, what's the best way for them to get in contact with you if they're whether they're looking for services or they want to
email me or call the office. They'll always be able to find me. Yeah.
Awesome. And I guess also you had touched upon the email list in regards to like community members who want to get involved joining that. Besides the email list, would it be the same thing if they wanted to contact you to learn more about the opportunities or just to maybe they know, maybe they're aware of an issue or a need?
If they have a neighbor who doesn't have what they need and they know that they're a military veteran or, somebody needs transportation. That's what we're there for. Mm-hmm. We're not just there to do claims. We're there to help the veterans. So we try to make sure that we use all the resources that we can to help them. So come to the office, call the office, email the office, and we'll do whatever we can.
Awesome. And I'm sort of backtracking a little bit too.
I'm
and
good.
You and Kelly were talking about Rolling Thunder.
Yeah.
Where can individuals go if they want to learn more about Rolling Thunder or if they want to hear more about your story? Is it website or?
So the national website has the information of how to get a hold of our chapter president, but we actually meet here in Foxborough. So our meetings are the last Sunday of the month at the community center at 11 o'clock. They're open to the public if anybody wants to come and check it out. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of misconceptions about Rolling Thunder. Everybody thinks you have to ride a motorcycle. No, you don't need to ride. A lot of us do, but a lot of us don't. You also don't need to be a veteran to join Rolling Thunder. So we have junior members, we have young people as part of our organization. So you don't need to be a veteran and you don't need to ride a motorcycle. You just need to care about the POW/MIA issue and want to help veterans. That's it.
Awesome. And I guess the last question I have for you is, since becoming more involved with the veterans from this position of like being a director, what's been the most rewarding aspect of your job?
Every day. Every day. Like I have a good job, right? I get to work with people and help people every day. So every day. There's no one piece that I'm like, oh, yay, me. No. Nope. The little old man that was 80-something years old that I helped to just today to get his information from the National Archives because he can't do everything on the computer and he didn't want to do ID me because that's hard to do. So, yeah. He walked out. It was like, thank you so much. Yeah.
So everything from the from the individuals to the community aspect to
there's no one thing. It's the whole ball of wax.
Well, I guess those are all the questions I have for you. And I guess, again, I just want to thank you on behalf of the Boyden Library and then also on behalf of the class for taking the time to sit down with us to share your journey and your story. And thank you for your service. And thank you for all that you do for veterans, I guess, within the state and regionally with Rolling Thunder, as well as here in the town and the community. Thank you for everything you've done.
My pleasure.
And I guess with that said, this is Travis's first podcasting workshop class signing off.
Oscar Mike Radio.